worked. You never know. Okay. Let's start over here. Okay, yay, starting. Okay, yay, we have started streaming. We are live. I am so excited about today's cake. I was going to go with my classic edible glitter filled pinata cake, and then I thought, wait a second, it's Easter. We should do an Easter themed cake, or Easter is at least coming up in just under 2 weeks. So I'm super excited. We are doing a themed cake today, and I found the most beautiful things. Hold on, I'm just making sure that I have comments turned on so I can catch up and make sure I see everybody. Here we go. Let me know where you're coming from, and if you guys have any big plans for Easter. We do not. We are staying home. I have the kids this year, so I'm super excited about that. Okay, hello Jennifer, hello James, hello Crystal, hello Nicola. Okay, whew, so I am super excited. So usually for this cake, I do big sugar crystals, edible glitter. It's really fun watching it all fall out. It has this gorgeous fall, and let's face it, sugar crystals are always good. You can also use like those awesome sprinkle mixtures that have all the different sizes and colors of sprinkles. Those are really fun too. So when I was deciding to do this live, I debated what to put inside. And then I went to the grocery store, hungry, which you should never do. And I walked across the Easter aisle, which again, you should never do because let's face it, I am a candy-aholic. And of course, it's Easter, so this time of year there are the Cadbury mini eggs, which I'm pretty much addicted to. And then I saw these. Check this out. Metallics! How gorgeous are these metallic Cadbury mini eggs? They are so beautiful. They have this great shine. I mean, it just, look at that beautiful shine and color. Anyway, and that's when I decided right then and there that that is what I needed to put inside this cake. And the cake went from just being a normal pinata cake to an Easter themed pinata cake. I have gone overboard planning for this. I'm super excited for making it, but the picture still shows a glitter cake, and the links go to my glitter cake recipes blog post, because I don't have a blog post for this cake yet. So as soon as I finish this cake, I'll take some pictures, put it up on the blog, and you guys will have more unique instructions for this specific cake. So I actually already have the cakes baked and ready to go, but I didn't make the frosting yet. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna make the frosting, and so there's a lot of different choices when it comes to making frosting. When I'm doing fondant, I like to do ganache. Ganache is really strong. It's basically a truffle, so it's delicious, and you can get nice sharp corners. It's really great under fondant for holding its shape. It's really great with carved cakes for holding shapes and details. But when I'm not doing a fondant cake, most people are going to choose a buttercream over straight ganache. I don't know who doesn't like eating truffle on their cake, but that's okay with me. So then you have a couple choices. There's American buttercream, which in my opinion is super, 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 super sweet, because it's basically butter or shortening as a base, and then just loads of powdered sugar. So then another option is to go with one of the meringue-based buttercream, Swiss meringue or Italian meringue buttercream, and those are luscious and rich and delicious. But they can be a little tricky to make. It involves cooking a lot of sugar syrup or heating the egg whites before you beat them, and that can be tricky. So around the blog sphere over the last couple of years, there has been like a cheater's Swiss meringue going around, and I jumped on the bandwagon and gave it a try. I used it in my triple peanut butter cake and loved it, and so that is what we're going to do today. The easiest cheater, whatever you want to call it, Swiss meringue there is, and that is by using pasteurized egg whites. So the egg whites have already been heated up to the proper temperature for safety and then cooled again. So we don't have to reheat anything. We don't have to make a sugar syrup. We're just going to take those pasteurized egg whites, beat them with some sugar, and add the butter and go from there. So let's get started with that recipe. Happy Easter, Michelle. Nice to see you. Rachel, Lisa, Veronica, Cynthia, Jennifer, Sonia, Josephine, AJ. It's good to see you all. Jennifer, Portland. Okay, I just got back from spending a week for spring break, and I grew up in Portland, at the coast and in Portland with my kids, and it was so magical, and it was so hard to drive back here. Like, driving into the green and the fresh air was wonderful. Driving away from the green and the fresh air was sad, but I'm home. Hello from Puerto Rico. California, Atlanta, Florida. Awesome. My signal's not good today and I'm cutting off. That's weird. Is anybody else seeing problems with the feed? Let's see. There's not a lot I can do once I start. Over on YouTube, it looks like the stream is going fine. And on Facebook, it says that there was a little jog, but it looks like it's fine right now. So fingers crossed, Facebook plays nice and it cleans up. Okay, technology, gotta love it. All right, so first thing we're gonna do is get out the egg whites. Whew. And pour them into our mixer. There we go. Now you'll notice that pasteurized egg whites that come in a carton like that, they actually don't look necessarily like egg whites. Like you don't see the gummy, gummy's the wrong word, but you're not gonna see, and chunks is the wrong word too, but you're not gonna get those boogery, that's the right word. You're not gonna get like those boogery parts, and because they've cooked it and pasteurized it, heated it and pasteurized it, it's actually much smoother. So it's going to look a little different, but I promise it is egg whites. All right, so next up we have powdered sugar to add. We have a lot of powdered sugar to add. So I'm going to get a measuring cup out to help me with that. Okay. If you just pour the powdered sugar in, you're gonna go like poof and get a big powdered sugar cloud. And we're adding quite a bit because I'm making a large batch. So by using a measuring cup and just pouring it in, it's gonna be a little bit safer. So obviously you don't have to pre-measure it into a bowl like I did to make it pretty. You can just measure it right into your bowl. And I'm going to add about half and put my lid on and start mixing this. You can just pour the whole thing in, but I find that it's a little bit easier to do half and then the other half for smoothness. Check that out. Oops. It's nice and liquidy now. I'm going to add the other half of the powdered sugar. Those of you on Facebook that are having some problems with the feed today, it looks like we're doing just fine over on YouTube. My channel over there is Ashlee Marie Cakes. So fingers crossed, you can try that over there. Okay, let's just pour the rest of this in. And we're gonna add a little salt. And what that's gonna do, oh man, everything just went black over on my side. Are you guys okay? I'm not quite sure what that could be. Gotta love when everything does that. All right, salt. So we're gonna add a pinch of salt. And what the pinch of salt does is it helps, I'm gonna add more than a pinch. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon. The salt actually helps cut the sweetness so your cake's not quite as like sharp. I'm just a salt fan in general. So we're gonna put the lid back on and we're gonna mix it again. All right, there you go. So now I'm going to turn this up on high and we're going to beat it until it gets meringue. getting a little bit thicker. It's not quite there yet, so I'm gonna beat it a little longer. For those of you who were having some trouble, I went and I tried to like blow out my system and clean it. Hopefully that fixed the problem. For those of you asking what kind of mixer this is, it's a Bosch universal mixer, and I will put a link in the comments. So we're gonna beat this a little bit longer. Some questions. You want to beat this for about 4 minutes to get it to the meringue level that we're looking for. Okay. It's good on YouTube. Great. So everybody on Facebook, I will put in a link to YouTube if you guys want to switch over to that. While we finish beating it, if you look, you can see it's actually looking really good. More on the meringue side. We just want it to get slightly thicker peaks. Make sure that you're scraping down the sides. As you're doing this, you're not getting any chunks of powdered sugar anywhere. Getting a nice, even meringue. Okay, so now we're getting those stiffer peaks. Let's pull this up. You can see we're still at soft peaks, but we're ready to start adding the butter now. So I'm going to turn it back on high. Actually, what I'm going to do, I forgot to plug in this microphone. My other microphones are on, but this one is not. And by plugging this in, you'll be able to hear me even with the beater going. So I'm going to do that real fast. And what we're gonna do is I have all of this butter, 2 cups, and I'm just gonna cut off, and it's all softened. I'm just gonna cut off about 2 tablespoons at a time and add this to the mixer while it's beating. And we're gonna do that until all of the butter has been incorporated. So yeah, it's gonna get loud, but hopefully you'll be able to hear me better with this going on. And you just want to wait a couple seconds in between. Okay, I've plugged in that microphone. Can you guys hear me better? Let me know. And I'm just going to keep adding this butter. About 2 tablespoons at a time. Every couple of seconds. And it doesn't have to be exactly 2 tablespoons. It's just kind of about that size. Actually, this is more like about 1.5 tablespoons every time. It doesn't really matter. This is a good thickness though that you're kind of looking for. Valerie, no, the eggs do not need to be at room temperature. I just put them straight from the fridge into this. Good, Michelle. I'm glad you're able to find it on YouTube and that it's working over there. You know, when you rely on another service, like, you know, Facebook, you can't always control how everything's going. And we've been having stormy weather, so maybe that's affecting things. All right. At this point, we have added half of the butter. You can see how thick it's already getting and luscious. It is looking good. We're just gonna keep going. Try another angle so you guys don't get bored looking at this one. How's that? So if anybody has any questions, let me know. In total, this probably takes about, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes to make one of these frostings. It doesn't hurt to have everything pre-measured out, of course. It makes it go a lot faster. This is a fairly large batch. You can, of course, cut this in half. If you have a larger mixer, you can double it. Oh, we're almost done. We're down to our last cube. All right. I'm going to scrape around the sides, give it another beat, and we're going to add the flavoring and the coloring. Oh, I have a chunk of butter still right there. All right. So for flavoring, I'm adding vanilla, about 2 tablespoons. Okay, now we're going to give this a taste. Grab a tasting spoon and let's check it out. So if you like yours a little less buttery, you could actually probably stop about 1.5 cups of butter. If you like it more buttery, go ahead and do the full 2 cups. This is tasting really good. Now this was 8 cups of powdered sugar. So when you're doing the beginning and you're doing the cup of egg whites and the 8 cups of powdered sugar, you're going, whoa, that is a lot of sugar. This is gonna be super sweet. But you're adding 2 cups of butter, you're whipping it all together. It's getting larger as you do that, and it actually ends up not too sweet at all, in my opinion. But I am going to add more vanilla because this is imitation vanilla, because real vanilla is too expensive these days. And when I use imitation, I tend to like double the amount that it calls for because I want that vanilla flavor to be a little stronger. And of course you can use any other vanilla flavor or any other flavors or extracts. I would of course always use a little vanilla, but then you can add like an almond extract or lemon or any other extract you can find. You can add root beer for crying out loud, or maple. I do maple a lot. And of course you can also use, as we talked about a couple weeks ago, emulsions. Emulsions are thicker and stronger flavoring that doesn't affect the outcome as much. So you can add more, but they're also, you don't need to add much. Anyway, I really like working with emulsions. So, but today I'm just going with vanilla cake, vanilla frosting, super boring, nice and simple. We're gonna let the decorating really do the talking here. So mix that vanilla in, and we're gonna go for color. So I am trying to match out of all of these metallic eggs. I'm going to try to match this blue. I think that's going to be a nice base for the cake. So I'm going to take some turquoise, and this is gel food coloring. And I'm going to add a couple drops in because I don't want it to be a strong color. This is quite pastel, and you can always add more coloring. You can't add less, right? So I'm going to add a couple drops. So I was worried that it might be a little green, especially since the butter kind of makes this a little yellow to begin with. So what do you guys think? Color-wise, let's try it from the other angle. I think we have the color matched up pretty good. I think we do. I think we have it matched up pretty good. I was considering adding a little more blue, but I think that's actually looking decent. All right, so I'm gonna scrape the sides, give it another mix to get all of that frosting that's not dyed around the sides and bottoms in and colored. Okay. Whoop. Find every little nook and cranny. My bowl scraper broke and I miss it and I need to get a new one. Okay. Man, it looks really matchy, but I think I'm gonna add a little blue. Okay, this is me being OCD, you guys. I think I'm gonna add just like a half a drop. I don't even want to add, a lot. In fact, I'm gonna go in there with the back of my spoon, kind of get some of that out, because I don't want it to be super strong. All right, let's mix that in. So I pulled some out. Oh, you guys, look at that, it's perfect. That added just what I was looking for. I love it. Love it, I love it, I love it. All right, so give this another scrape and we are gonna set this aside and start working on the cakes. Now you can make this frosting ahead of time and refrigerate it, but what you're gonna wanna do in that case is you're going to want to bring it out of the fridge and let it warm up a little bit. You don't want it warm, obviously, but bring it out so it's, because in the fridge it's gonna get really hard. And bring it out, let it soften, and then re-whip it before you use it. So I'm just gonna set this back here. And wipe down the counter, of course. Always want to do that between steps when you're making anything. Otherwise you get stuff all over yourself. And then we're going to cut the cake layers. So I'm going for a taller cake. Now I went with an 8-inch cake this time around because even though I like the 7-inch and the 6-inch cakes a lot, I was worried that when I cut a hole in the like a 6-inch cake, that it was actually going to get maybe a little too weak. So I went with the 8-inch because that's what I've used in the past, and I've got dye all over my hand. So I can get a little bit of that off. I'm really good at getting dye on my hands. Okay. So now we have a really good cake turner and a really long, strong serrated knife. We're going to cut the top off the cake and the bottom off the cake. Now, if you notice, my cake is covered in plastic wrap. It's because when I take a cake out of the oven, I let it cool about 10 minutes just so that it's cooled down just enough that I'm not going to burn myself really bad, and I immediately wrap it in plastic wrap. The cake is still warm, the cake is still steaming, and I set it in the freezer. So I made these this morning. I put them in the freezer for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and then I pulled them out. So they're still soft, they're not frozen, but they did all of their cooling really quickly. And instead of cooling and letting all the steam leave the cake and evaporate in the air, especially the dry air here, the moisture stays inside the cake and you end up with a more moist cake. Now, if I was carving this into some kind of shape, I would freeze it completely. I like to carve my cakes frozen. But for leveling, you don't want it frozen. It gets really hard to level evenly that way. So my cake is nice and flat, but I'm still going to trim off the top. I'm still going to trim off the bottom, and then I made these double height. Then I'm going to cut off, cut it right in the middle as well. And the reason for that is, one, I like really tall cakes, and I also don't like cutting off too much. And just in case these had domed, by doing a double height cake, you only are cutting off one dome instead of 2 domes, and you end up leaving more cake down here. And the reason I'm cutting off the top and the bottom, you really don't notice until you slice into a cake. When you slice into a cake and you pull that slice out, if you leave this dark on top of the cake or even on the bottom of the cake, you'll see that in the slices that you cut. So first thing to do with leveling a cake, put it center it in the cake turner. Now I'm just going to slice mine right through the plastic, but you can unwrap it if you want to. very first thing I do, I get in a nice comfortable position, I hold my knife where I want to cut it, and the first time around, I just hold that serrated knife in place and I turn the cake, letting that turntable really do the work for me. And then I get back around to the other side, and if the knife line matches up, which it does here, as you can see by the plastic, then I'm going to keep going. If for some reason you start here and then you end here, you know that you weren't holding your knife straight, and that's why I only cut a little bit that first swirl, because then I have a nice guide to go by and I know that I'm not cutting the cake crooked. You could always, I guess, use like those super expensive levelers, but I find that they don't necessarily work still, and this is just for me a fast, quick, easy method that I've been doing for years and I feel really comfortable with. All right, so and then you just want to keep, oh, come on, camera change, there we go. You just want to keep going around. Again, I'm not doing much with the knife. I'm really letting the turntable do most of this work for me. If I do anything with the knife at all, I kind of am pulling it towards where I'm turning this way, so I'd pull the knife this way, so they're going in opposite directions. And I mostly need to do that if I accidentally let the cake freeze too much and it's frozen inside. All right. Okay, now we have perfectly level cake. And now I always start by cutting the top, because the bottom, of course, is flat because it was in the pan. So now that I have the top nice and even, I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Again, just give it a little start, give it a little quick turn through, and by giving yourself a nice, like standing nice and straight, being comfortable in whatever position you're standing in, you're going to, it's going to ensure that you're cutting your cake evenly. If you are tilted off to the side, if you aren't standing evenly, that is when you get, this is really thin, so it keeps wanting to cut through. I leave my cake, my parchment paper from my cake circle on the cake because it helps when I'm cutting super, like look how thin that is. When I'm cutting super thin layers like this, it just helps give it a little bit of strength. All right, so see how thin this is? It's barely anything at all. Sometimes it misses the center. That's not a problem. Just go right back and do that. Okay, so now the bottom of my cake and the top of my cake are nice and level. And, take that plastic off. I'm gonna cut right through the center. So, hold on. I'm gonna walk around the cake so I can come at it from the other side. I'm right-handed. Okay. So again, you're gonna put your cake, let's see, well, I feel like this is the center, so I'm gonna put my knife right where I feel the center is. I'm gonna hold it still, and I'm going to turn my cake. Same thing that we did cutting off the top and the bottom, not moving the knife. See? And I met up, nice straight line. And now I'm going to do just what we did before and cut it all the way through. Go back to my mark and just turn. Does anybody have any questions about leveling or torting? That's what it's called when you cut a cake in half. Torting a cake. Let's see. And I have nice even layers. Put this off to the side and do the next one. Oh, okay. Whew. Probably should have pre-cut some of these. I did not even think about that until I got right here, and now I'm going, oh, I got a lot of cakes to cut. Okay. Let's see. Green looks good. You have a stand mixer. Would you use the paddle attachment or the whisk attachment for the frosting? That is a great question. For cake batter where you don't want a lot of air, I would use the paddle attachment. For frosting, especially the meringue where you're trying to beat in air, I would use the whisk attachment. At the very, very end of beating the frosting, if you want to if you want to make sure that you don't have too many air bubbles in your cake, you can switch to the paddle attachment right at the end. But I would definitely start with the whisks for that meringue part of the frosting, and for starting to beat in the butter. And I would only switch to the paddle at the very end. The other thing that I don't ever bother switching to my paddles. What I do is I actually, after I've whisked the frosting, I actually let it, I use a spatula, my rubber spatula. I'll take the whisks out of the bowl. We'll do that in a second when we're done with this. I'll take the whisks out of the bowl and I will, oh my word, my brain. Trying to do two things at once. And I'll use the spatula to kind of just stir through the frosting and get rid of any bubbles that way. But yeah, by switching to the paddle attachments is another way of doing that. Okay, now we're going to cut this cake in half. Okay, make sure the lines meet up before you keep going, and then keep leveling. Okay, any other questions? Could you torte a tres leches cake from multiple layers? You could. Would you be like soaking and then putting whipped cream and then another cake later like that? Or would you just be putting the milky evaporated milk cream mixture in that layer? Because really it should soak through all of them just fine. But yeah, it would, torting always works. You can even torte really, really thin cake layers. I would recommend though that if you're trying to go, see like this, these are still fairly thick. Oh, that is not quite as level as I thought. These are still slightly thick layers, and you can torte thinner, but I would say if you're gonna torte thinner, one, don't use your hands to separate the cakes. Use like a cake paddle. I have one over there. I can show you later. And make sure you're using a more dense cake, because if you're using a light cake, you're getting it really thin and you're pulling it apart, you could just break it. That's a great question. Can you see what you're doing? Yes, of course. All right, so again, you're going to put the knife in. Maybe this angle is better. Put the knife right up against the top. Start spinning. Mark it your first time around. Make sure that they meet up. These do evenly, and then go in for the deeper cut. Just turning and letting the turntable do the work for you. So remember, this is a serrated knife. It's nice and long. I want it wider than my cake always. And this one, I love this one because it doesn't have a lot of bend in it. It's nice and strong. Sometimes when you get these long serrated knives, they are really quite weak, and I don't love that. Okay. Doing the same thing on the bottom now that I flipped the cake over. And then again, once I make sure that they line up, I go deeper into the cake. Ooh, this one wanted to stay. There we go. And oh, this cake is so moist. Look at it's getting all moist all over my cake. Okay, let's cut this in half. Now, if you want to be super exact about cutting your cake in half, you can use a ruler. And then what you can do is put in, like, I'd measure this with a ruler, and I'd put a toothpick right in the middle. And I would do toothpick, 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 all the way around. And then you could hold your knife right on top of those toothpicks to get that first layer done. I'm just eyeballing. I'm not too stressed about that. But there you go. That's an option for nice even leveling if you're worried about that. Okay. It's funny where my OCD comes out and where it doesn't. All right, so now I've done the first cut on this. Lines up. I'm going to finish torting the cake, and we are going to move on. Okay, there we go. Put this aside. Ooh, look at all these crumbs. Take this out of the way because we don't need this anymore. Wipe my hands down because they are a mess. Okay, so next up, we're going to create the holes in the cake. So I'm going to use this cookie cutter. It's a nice tall cookie cutter, and it is taller than my cake layers, which of course is important. You wouldn't want to have one that was shorter than your cake layer, because then, see how this is taller? Whoop. If you had one that was shorter, when you pressed down into the cake, you would actually end up getting the cookie cutter stuck, and then that's hard to get out. And then you're just creating a huge mess for yourself. So you don't want to do that. So you can just spread these cake layers out and just go pop, 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 pop. Use the cookie cutter to just pop holes in them. But are they going to be centered? So I'm taking an 8-inch cake circle, which is the size of these cakes. And I'm going to fold my cake circle, parchment cake circle in half. Fold it in half again. And fold it in half again. So I kind of like 1/3 this. And then what I'm going to do is hold my cookie cutter up to this and kind of find that center. There we go. Make a mark. I'm going to cut the center out of this cake. So I'm folding it back up, and the reason that I'm doing that is now I can see if those lines line up really well, and now I can see that over here I was a little wider than I was on this side. So clearly it wasn't perfectly centered like I thought. That's okay. I'm just going to cut in between those two lines, and then that should give me a nice centered mark. So right in between. Open it up. Make sure we can fit the cookie cutter or the cutter in it. All right, it's still a little shallow, so I'm going to trim just a little bit more off. Ooh. Okay, so trim just a little bit more off, and now that should fit. So I'm going to bring in my cake circle, or my cake. I'm going to lay this parchment circle on it, and now I have a nice guide for where I'm going to take this and cut my hole. Now before I press down, I'm going to make sure that this isn't in the way, so I don't like press and accidentally press that parchment circle down inside. Use just a little turning motion. Pop. There we go. How was that? That was pretty easy. All right. Bring the other one in and just repeat. And there we go. Can't see it. Do you use cake stripes for even layers? I don't know what you mean by cake stripes. I guess I don't. There we go. Twist and out. And we're going to do this for all of the layers but one, because one layer needs to be our top that's going to hold up the frosting and not make a huge mess with the filling. So out of our 6 layers, 5 are going to have holes and 1 is not. So you can decide for yourself if you want that to be one of the top layers or one of the bottom layers, you know, based on how we cut the cake. So just keep going with this, turn and out. And then these little circles you can keep, you can freeze them, you can use them for another cake, or you can just eat them. This is what I tend to do with my cakes, so why not? Because delicious. All right, so, place your parchment circle, make sure it's centered. And then this way, all of you, the whole should be centered all up the cake. This is the one I'm keeping, so I'm gonna bring my final one in. Here we go. Okay, and pop. Now, I have seen people cut these circles with a knife, and you totally can do that. I happen to have a set of these nice tall round cookie cutters, so I just use that. Plus, I like how fast and easy it is, and I get a nice perfect clean circle, where when I'm cutting with a knife inside my cake, you know, sometimes it tilts a little, sometimes it doesn't, then you don't have a perfect hole all the way down the center, you know. Yeah, just not my preference. Okay, I'm going to move my cake circles out of the way, and here we go. Wipe down the counter now. Get rid of these center cake pieces for my kids to destroy later, because we want to get rid of all of these crumbs so we can frost the cake without making it a huge crummy mess. I'm getting a new wash rag because the old one has blue dye all over it, where I made a mess earlier. Okay, so anything that has crumbs on it, throw it in the sink, get rid of it, throw it in the garbage if it's the parchment circle, and wipe down everything, because it's so worth taking another moment to clean everything. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal until you get a crumb in your cake, and it, you know, just takes seconds to do, and it is worth it. All right, so now you want to pick your cake stand. I'm using this handmade ceramic plate that I bought. And I like to use a cake turner. It spins, it makes frosting nice and easy. We're gonna put that one on top of the other. And there we go. Okay, adding the first layer of cake. Before we do that, bringing the frosting back over. Now, one of the reasons I put the frosting way over there is so that as I'm cutting my cake and I'm flinging cake crumbs everywhere, I don't get any cake crumbs in my frosting. Okay, so pull my whisks out. Oh, this color's so pretty. And like I mentioned earlier when someone was asking about using a whisk or a paddle, as you can see, there's a little, there's kind of some air bubbles in this, right? And so by taking my spatula kind of through it and flattening it, I'm getting a lot of those air bubbles out and getting a smoother frosting. It just takes a second to do. So it's just like scraping the bowl. You're just kind of doing it in the middle of the bowl. Just takes a quick second. Okay. And then of course, frosting spatula. So the first thing that, let's move this. Ugh. Already making a mess. Let's move the side camera so you can see a little better what I'm doing over on the side. Whoop. Okay. Because side shot's always a good shot. Okay. So first thing that we want to do, switch cameras, is we want to add a little frosting to our cake plate. Now normally I would traditionally add some right in the middle, but we're going to have a hole in the middle of ours. So what I actually want to do is add a little frosting, kind of donut shaped, just like our cake is, to hold that first layer into place. So grab our first cake, center it on our plate, make sure we're happy with that. And what I do for centering, it's easy for me because of this whole camera thing. Oh, I already had it in the right place. I just kind of spin my plate around. And usually I can tell if the cake is centered or not from that. Okay. Now we're going to add frosting to the cake itself. Now we're trying not to get frosting inside here because we don't want our filling to stick to the inside of the cake. So I'm going to just add a couple plops of frosting around the cake. And that's going to help me evenly frost. Plop, 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 plop. All right. And then just frost away. And I love having a turntable for frosting cakes. I feel like it makes a huge difference in working quickly and getting a nice even amount. So I'm bringing the frosting all the way to the edge here, but I'm actually going over the edge on the outside, and that's what's going to give us a nice even outside edge to our cake without like big gaps from where the cakes have met, is by letting that frosting overhang a little bit. Okay. Next up, and make sure that your hole is matching up, but also that your outside is fairly even. And then we're going to do the same thing. Aubrey, you have a family get-together Saturday and you offer to bring the dessert. What should you bring? What does your family like? What kind of dinner is it? Is it like sit down? Does everybody want their own nice unique slice? Do you want to make mini desserts and everybody has their own? Or do you want something that's just kind of an easy to go like grab thing? One of my family favorites is a trifle because everybody can just kind of scoop their own amount. That's a good way to go. It reminds me of an old Alka-Seltzer commercial. I'm not quite the color? Cake strips for even layers. Oh, I get it. Sorry, I get it now. Do I use bake even strips for even cake layers? Yes. Yes, I do. I also use an upside down flour nail or a cake core in the center. And then I also make sure that I high altitude my cake recipes as well. And that makes a huge difference for where I live, because cake recipes, as recipes should be, are written for sea level, and I do not live at sea level. So, all right, we ready to keep going. So again, kind of make sure that your hole is centered and that the outside of your cake is even. And then add more frosting. Margaret, hello, nice to see you. Is the Facebook feed doing better now, or is it still jumping around over there? I cannot tell from where I'm watching from. Oh, plop. Okay. Does anybody know what they're doing for Easter? Is everybody typical ham people? I like to do turkey for Easter, but this year my kids are asking for pork chops. So it looks like that's what we are going to do for Easter this year. Only because it's been a long time since we had pork chops and I make turkey very often. Kind of a dork that way. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up, see if there's any. You love the color. Thank you so much. For those of you who are joining us, we're making a pinata cake and we're filling it with these shiny metallic Cadbury eggs, and we were matching the frosting to this turquoisey bluish green one. So that is the color we were going for. I feel like we nailed it. Okay. We're getting close. Now, one thing I will warn against is not to get too much frosting in between here, just because we're basically creating a double barrel cake. That is one full cake on top of another full cake, double barrel. And usually when I do this style of cake, I put a cardboard circle in the middle and dowel rods to help hold the weight of the second cake on top of the first cake. They're just the same size, double barrel cake. But for these pinata cakes, you want to be able to cut through the whole thing, pull it away, and have everything spill out. So there is no cardboard circle. So you want to use a denser cake that's stronger, and you also don't want to use too much frosting because you don't want these to be all slipping and sliding around either. So, okay, we're halfway done. Let's add another layer. Make sure that you're looking down the barrel of your cake and that your cake is even on the sides and even down the center. We're going to plop more frosting on top. Plop. Now, if you did just put this whole big plop of frosting right on one side and tried to smooth it around all the sides, you would end up kind of pulling it away from the cake, and you'd probably end up with crumbs. Now, typically I just put a plop right in the center, right? And I just spread that out. But when you don't have a center to work with, it's a little trickier. So that is why I'm kind of plopping around the cake, because it's always better as you're spreading frosting. If I spread just to here and I pulled it back really fast, I would end up getting crumbs. So it's always better to spread your frosting to more frosting, right? So then I'm joining the frosting together that way, and I'm never ripping it away and creating crumbs. Okay. Oop. Trying to get a nice even layer. Okay, this is our final layer with a hole. Eyeball the center, eyeball the outside, and spread the frosting around again. Plop, 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 plop. Okay. Spread. Does anybody have any questions so far? What elevation do you need to do to adjust your recipe for high altitudes? I'm at about 4,000 feet, so of course I adjust, but I would say anything above 1,500 feet I would adjust. You kind of, every 2,000 feet, you kind of adjust slightly differently, a little bit more. But you can just, the 4,000 adjustment kind of works above and below, but if you really want to get technical, you adjust a little differently for 2,000, 4,000, and 6,000. Once you hit 1,500, you're probably still okay, but that's when I would consider starting to adjust. Especially, really, the answer for that really is if you're having trouble, right? When you hit a pain point. If you're having trouble with your caking, with your baking, try adjusting for altitude, right? It might make a difference and it might not. So now we have, you can see we spread a little frosting on the inside on accident, so I'm just going to take my spatula in here and just kind of scrape away without trying to be too vicious with it, because I did pull some crumbs away. Come on, focus. I did pull some crumbs away, and I don't want to really mess up that inside, so I'm going to stop with that. And now, man, now comes the fun part. Now we get to fill the cake with these Cadbury Mini Metallics. So cute. I love it. All right, let's bring this over here. You can see a little bit better. All right, so you can use a funnel. You can use your hand. You can use a scoop. I'm going to, let's see, use my canning funnel. Because my canning funnel is about the right size. Okay. I'm not going to set it down though, because I don't want it to ruin the frosting. And just start adding until it's full. Oh, it's getting to the top. Okay, when you get near the top, stop. Kind of give it a shake, especially when you're working with like smaller sprinkles. These big ones obviously aren't going to settle too much, but they will settle a little bit. And add the final pieces. You want to make it, you know, as flat as possible. I can get maybe one more. in there. Okay. And then we're going to take our final cake layer and put that right on top, making sure it is centered. There we go. Now, if you don't fill up your center enough, you might get a little dip right here. You can see it kind of bounces back a little. If you overfill it, you'll get a mound right here. So that's why you want it to hold up that top cake layer, but you want to make sure that you don't dome it really bad. And now we're going to frost the top. So do a big plop and spread. Ooh, you can see how wobbly it is. That's because it's such a tall cake without internal support. So just take your time, go slow, don't push too hard. Add more frosting if you need to. And keep going. So I like to make sure I frost the top first, and I make sure that the frosting is overhanging. That's what's going to help me get better corners at the end of the day. So if your frosting is not overhanging, keep adding more frosting and keep spreading it until it is overhanging. Okay, nice smooth top. And now we're going to frost the sides. And just keep adding and frosting, adding and frosting. And there we go. Okay, oh, I am making a mess. My hands are covered in frosting. Oh my word, this cake is so wobbly. I don't know if you can see how wobbly this is. I am making a mess. It's all over my hands. Ugh. And I don't worry too much about trying to get it perfect the first time around. I just kind of keep adding and spreading and adding and spreading and adding and spreading, because once all the frosting is on and once the cake is all covered, then I can worry about getting it smooth, right? You just want to make sure that everything is covered with some frosting. You want it to meet up. Yeah, and if you worry too much about it being perfect the first time around, you tend to actually cause more problems for yourself. So just get all the frosting to cover everything. And if you find like chunks of frosting, like I had a chunk fall off of the cake and it's covered in crumbs, just take that away. I have a couple little chunks that kind of fell to the bottom here. Whew. I'm actually getting low on frosting. I'm barely going to have enough. I like to usually make enough that I don't have to worry about running out. But sometimes you under or overestimate. But it's always better to have too much frosting and have to throw away some than to have too little frosting and have to stop and make more and have to try to color match a batch. But I'm going to be good. Oh. I used to be really bad at licking my fingers when I would frost cakes, just because we kind of all do that, right? You get something on your hand and you lick it, right? I hit the point that I ended up just really hating buttercream. I was just like, whoa, I was making so many cakes. I was teaching a lot. I was making a lot of client cakes, and I just hit the point. I think I went through a stage where I didn't make buttercream for years. That's when I switched over to ganache and fondant. I was just done. I was like, not doing this. No more. I hate it. People would say, oh, I want a buttercream cake. And I'm like, I don't do that. And now I just let myself get messy and then I clean it up. But oh man. There was a while there. We all go through that when you have too much of a good thing and then you end up not liking that good thing for a while. Okay, so final pass, a little bit of frosting left, And what I'm doing now is I'm going around the whole cake, not the final pass, just like the final rough pass. I'm going around the whole cake and I'm looking for any like naked spots, anywhere where I can see cake or cake's coming through, and I'm adding to that. Because once your cake is completely covered, that's when you can be a little bit rougher with it. That's when you can really start scraping away and smoothing out. If you try to start smoothing before that and the cake is still raw and there's still like places where the cake is showing, you end up just like pulling that frosting away, and you end up pulling away crumbs with it, and you get a ton of crumbs in your cake. That is one of the reasons that a lot of cake decorators do a crumb coat. You do a thin amount, you do a crumb coat, and then you seal in all those crumbs, and then you do the thicker coat. But if I can help it, I don't like to do multiple coats. I like to just do it once. And I found that if I just get all the frosting on there, then I'm able to do that without getting crumbs in. If I'm trying to overwork the frosting though, that's when I have trouble. Okay. So now that everything is covered and I'm good with all my gaps, now I'm gonna go through and I'm doing more smoothing. So first up, there are some crumbs right here on my cake thing, and I want to get rid of that. I don't want to accidentally grab that with a spatula. Keep everything nice and clean. Keep your surface clean. Any frosting cake chunks I'm going to get rid of. Okay. Next up, wash my hands because that is a mess. Use a lot of soap when you're working with buttercream because it is really greasy and you don't want to slip with what you're doing. Okay, to smooth a cake, I like to use bench scraper type things like this, nice and long, nice and straight, really sharp corners. And what you do is you actually hold it, hold on. You hold it against the cake at like a 45-degree angle, and you spin the cake into this, holding it nice and flat. It's really great if your cake plate is flat, because then you can just hold that on that nice flat surface and just really spin it. This cake plate has a little bit of a lip to it, so I'm gonna be able to do that except for like the bottom ½ inch of the cake. So hold it against the cake, and this is a pretty light touch, but the straighter you hold it, the straighter your frosting is gonna be. And it makes a horrific noise against ceramic cake plates. And again, I'm not trying to take off a lot of frosting. I'm just trying to even it up. So after going around, let's see. All right, after going around your first couple passes, then what you can do is you can look at the cake and you can see where it's here, it's nice and smooth. Anywhere where, like right there, I clearly have, the frosting is not coming out to the same width as this frosting right here. Kind of same thing right here, I have a little bit of a gap right there. So what I do is I'm gonna take my spatula and add a little frosting to those spots. And that's gonna help. Okay, now I'm gonna scrape again. Holding at that 45-degree angle. All right. And again, noticing any place that you want to add more frosting. I am like holding this at an angle without meaning to. Oh, that noise is so bad. Okay, so then do the same thing again. And you can do this over and over and over again. You can get really, super annoying and cause yourself a lot of grief and a lot of problems, and just keep doing this and keep doing this and keep doing this. But at some point you have to stop. At some point you just have to go good enough, right? All right, so I'm going to do this last little bit because it's at the top of the cake and I really want the top to look good. And so, okay. So now I'm getting ready to do my final pass. Now again, because my cake has a lip one of the things that I need to consider is that, my big scraper doesn't get into the bottom. So I'm actually going to go back to using my spatula just to get that last little bottom section. Right now I'm making sure that it has, I'm doing the same thing I did with the big thing with my spatula, just focusing on that last bottom inch, adding anywhere where there's a gap. A couple more gaps. And I'm going to do my final scrape. So for your final scrape, one of the things that you want to consider is you'll notice that every time I stop the scraper, it leaves a line where that pause is. Stop, turn, stop, turn, stop, turn, stop, turn. It keeps leaving lines, and we do not want that. Lines are bad. So we want to do one like nice smooth turn, and how I'm going to do that with the scraper, and I'm going to start with the spatula, is wrap one arm around this way, and that is going to be my spinning arm. See how see, I can get almost a full circle that way. The other thing I'm going to do, I'm trying to remember which, I'm used to working on this side. Okay. I'm going to hold that. You know what? I'm going to just go the other way. So I'm going to hold it and really smoothly go around one time without pausing. And I bring this arm in, and that way I do get that full time around. So as you look at this, the bottom doesn't have any of those stopping lines. So we're going to do the same thing again with our scraper. So just keep it nice and smooth and even, and don't stop or pause or hesitate. And there we go. And you can see now I have a nice smooth outer edge, or outer side, if you will. Okay, so now what about the top of the cake, all this area right here? I'm going to clean off my spatula, and I'm going to quickly do a nice smooth motion where I go from the outside to the inside, cleaning my spatula every time I do this motion. Clean, we don't leave this dirty. Clean, 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 and finally clean. And that gives us a pretty nice edge. I'm going to do a nice little one final smooth, and then I'm happy with those corners. Sometimes there are minor imperfections like this one right here, and I can redo it, or I can just stop. And like I said earlier, if you see those corners, there's that little imperfect one I'm not happy with, but I could just keep going again and again and again and again, but one, that takes time. And two, as you're doing that, you actually are always scraping a little bit off, and then you end up making your outer frosting really, really thin. So at some point, it's never going to be perfect. So at some point, you just stop. You just stop. So that's what I'm going to do now. Wash my hands again, wipe down the counters again, and move on to the final decorating. Okay. Whew. This is actually taking longer than I thought. Is this buttercream, YouTube family? Yes, this is a Swiss Meringue Buttercream. I made it at the beginning of the video. I will add the recipe into the YouTube comments once this video gets finished, and I will be adding a post on my blog with it as well. Okay, nice and clean. Great tips. I need that scraper. There's a lot of scrapers out there, a lot work. I know that a lot of cake decorators like the clear plastic ones. I've actually been meaning to buy one and try it. I just haven't yet. you're diabetic, but you'd love to make that cake for your family. My cousin was diabetic, and even though I know there's a lot of treats you can't have, you could of course use a sugar substitute. I know there's powdered sugar substitutes now, or you can take regular sugar substitutes, grind them up on food processor, and make your powdered sugar that way if you have a really strong one. But I'm sure your family would really appreciate that. You like to pat your buttercream with a paper towel. I don't do that method. I know a lot of people do. I just don't. I didn't learn that way. I find that I get it smooth enough this way, so I don't use that way, but I know a lot of people do. You have to use a crusting buttercream for that recipe to work, because if your buttercream is sticky, that's not going to work. So that works with American buttercreams really well, not quite as much with the meringue buttercreams. There might be all that because that's our elevation we need. How to use the cake nail. So I take the cake nail, and I flip it over, and I put it in the center of the parchment circle that's in the bottom of the pan. So I just pop it through, so the parchment sits on top of it, and then this will, because the metal touches the metal, it will help heat up the core, and that will help heat the center of the cake more even with the outside of the cake, while the bake even strips keep the outside of the pan a little bit cooler so that it doesn't overcook the outside while the inside's still raw. That make sense? Dipping the spatula in water help smooth the icing, or does that make it run? Actually, I have actually used that technique quite a few times. Again, I use it with an American buttercream. I would not use it with this Swiss meringue because it's already more soft with all the butter that's involved in it. With an American buttercream recipe, yes, I boil water. I take 2 spatulas, I stick them in the boiling water. I take one, I wipe it off so it's dry, and then I carefully, like an iron almost, run it over the buttercream, and it just kind of barest melting. Again, with the meringues, I don't do it, but with the American buttercream, I do. Then I put that one back in the boiling water, grab the other one, wipe it dry, very important step, and do that same thing. It really depends. It needs to be a cake that I really need perfectly smooth. In order to do that, again, I don't know that I would bother with that for today's cake, just because this one's just kind of a for fun for my family cake. All right, so for the top of the cake, I'm super excited about this one. I melted some chocolate. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to show you how I made this, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because I pre-made one that we can work with. I'm going to make a chocolate nest. Chocolate button. Okay, so I'm going to put the cake aside for a second, and I'm going to bring over what I use to make my chocolate nests. Oh, you know what? I need ice water. Hold on, I'm going to call my daughter. She's downstairs, if she answers the phone. All right, I've taken a bowl the size of the nest that I want to make, the inside of the nest, not the outside of the nest, the inside of the nest, and I've wrapped it in plastic wrap. I have a piping bag and a cup to help me hold the piping bag, and then I'm going to make some ice water if my daughter answers the phone and brings me ice. If not, we're going to pretend that I have ice water. She's not answering the phone. She's supposed to be doing homework, but clearly that's not happening. Hold on. Hey, Brooklyn? Yeah? Oh, there you are. Can you bring me, can you come get this container for me and bring me some ice? Hurry fast, I'm doing a live. She's in my office, of course. All right, let's check on the chocolate. So a couple years ago, I made an under the sea cake. Hold on, I gotta go back to Facebook comments. I made an under the sea cake. And what I did for some of the coral is I took bowls of ice, I melted some red candy melts, and I piped pretty thick amounts of this red candy melts, and then I have a YouTube video on it. I'll add a link later to that right here for anybody rewatching. And I piped it over the ice, and the ice makes the chocolate set right away because water and chocolate don't mix. It makes the chocolate seize. So it not only is cold, it makes the chocolate freeze right, or get hard right away, but also like seizes it right in position. And then I added red non-pearls on it to make it all grainy. But anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I thought if I took some chocolate like this and I melted it and I piped it in thin strands over over like a bowl of ice, I could get it to harden right away. And then I thought, if I just took like made a bowl of ice and just did it directly on that, it would still be kind of like flat right against the ice, and it wouldn't be really messy the way a nest is. So then I thought, this is really my thought process and how I do things. Hey, Brooklyn baby now. Then I thought, well, what if I did ice water? So I tried it earlier today. It worked amazing. Hopefully, thank you. Can you like get a layer of ice, please? Yeah. Thank you, baby. Ice water. And if I pipe really thin strands onto it, then I can like pick them out of the ice water and layer them like on the bowl, and hopefully it won't be too flat and stuck to it, but it'll be a little bit more messy. And it worked. It's really awesome. And I'm excited to show you. So, this dipping, the heat does it. Yes, the heat does it. Let's go to the bottom here. I'm catching up on comments. Kimber, hi. Hello everybody. Is Facebook working better? At the beginning it was all splotchy and not working, so a bunch of people hopped over to YouTube. So let me know, those of you watching on Facebook, if it's working. All right, I think I am all cut up with... Hey, I'm filming, so shh, be quiet. Shh. Kids just got back from karate. We have really been doing this a while. So for those of you joining us, we are doing a Easter pinata cake today. We have already, I already baked the cake. We've already made the frosting. We've already cut the holes out of the center. We've already frosted and stacked the cake. We've already filled the cake, frosted the outside. That's what we've been doing today. And now we're making the final decoration for the cake. So I am melting some chocolate. I'm gonna give this a stir. I have a melt chocolate button on my microwave that gets a lot of use. It's pretty much the only thing my microwave does. I love it. So we're going to, these are some dark chocolate wafers. Thank you, sweetheart. Right. So these are dark chocolate wafers that I've put in the microwave and milk button. Now it still looks chunky right now, but don't despair and don't immediately go to heating it longer just because you still have chunks. The chocolate is warm. The chocolate will continue to melt the little chunks. What you don't want to do is keep microwaving it to smooth it out, because that will end up burning your chocolate. What you want to do is pull it out, stir it, add more, stir, heat, stir, heat, stir, heat. I usually find that one round of the chocolate button is enough. Even when it's chunky, I just give it a couple minutes of stirring. It usually smooths everything right out, but it kind of depends on how much. This is about 8 ounces of chocolate, so this should be good enough. If it's more than 8 ounces of chocolate, it might take a couple more seconds, but not too much more. If you do not have a melt chocolate button on your microwave, no problem. Do it in 30-second intervals on high, or if you can easily adjust it, do like 40 seconds on like medium, 50 seconds on medium. Stir, do it again, stir, do it again, and that should work out. Look, I haven't put it back in the microwave or anything like that, but look how smooth. Whoop, this is already looking. I just have a couple little chunks left. So I'm going to keep stirring those out. In the meantime, I'm going to add some cold water to this. You don't add hot water, of course, because that would melt the ice too much. Okay. I have that, this, I have the cup, and I have the chocolate. Oh, and I use dark chocolate, but of course you could use like semi-sweet too if you wanted. No, you guys have probably noticed I never really use milk chocolate. One, I'm just not really a milk chocolate girl. I'm not really a fan. My mom is, so I grew up with a lot of milk chocolate, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But I just feel like, especially with things like this, the darker chocolates are stronger, and they just work better, in my opinion. Okay. So now, take my piping bag. I've folded back the edge and I put it in a cup. Now when I'm making frosting, of course, and I'm filling a piping bag, I just hold it with my hand and I use a spatula to go against my hand. But holding this while pouring warm chocolate, you don't want to burn yourself. So in this case, it's easier to put it in a cup. So we're going to pour this in. So luscious. Yes, you can help. You want to go get a chair? Okay, go get a chair and you can help me.
Don't make any scratching noises.
Yeah, good job. Don't make any scratching noises. Okay. So now I have my piping bag with warm chocolate. I've cut the littlest bit off. I don't know if you can see that. I cut barely any off. You can always cut more, so don't cut too much. And now we're going to pipe strands of this right directly into the ice water. Let's see if we can get a little closer. Strands right into here. Okay. And it doesn't take very long. I'm going to add a little bit of chocolate right here to the back of this just to help hold the strands on. And I'm going to pull these strands out of the ice water and wrap it around the bowl. Now if you wait too long, they become hard and they're not as flexible. So you want to work somewhat quickly. All right, so we're going to pipe the stripes. Yep, add a little place with some chocolate, pull it out while it's still a little flexible, and wrap that around this bowl. There we go, and we're just going to repeat that over and over again. Okay, so.
For those of you who haven't seen me, I am Edward.
Oh, sorry.
For those of you who haven't
Edward's
seen
joined us. Hey, how's karate?
Good.
Oh, good. Okay, so pull this out. Oh, I forgot to add more chocolate over here. You like that? The piping. And just keep repeating.
And why is the one still in there?
Sometimes they break and then there's just some left in the ice. It's okay. And you just keep wrapping it around the bowl. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like in the end.
Video getting pixelated? Is that what he said?
Yeah, the video is really pixelated.
Good to see
Facebook.
you helping Mom.
Oh, you're such a good reader. Okay. So I made a nest earlier.
So
I kept it in the fridge. Dun,
The
dun, dun,
person who said
dun. Check this out.
who said that must have already seen me.
Look at this.
Must have already seen me.
Oh, so these are all the extra pieces
Can
that
I
like
keep one?
broke off of this.
I keep
Or I made a couple attempts before I settled on this one. No, not yet. You can eat some later. Okay, so now I'm going to, oops, wrong camera angle. Okay. Whew, so I didn't want to touch it, so I left it on here. Let's get a spatula. Because hands are big and thick and awkward. So I'm going to take my spatula. I'm going to come underneath here to get that bowl. Ooh.
I must be making the top
So
and
here's
the
the
bottom
bowl
of
inside
the
here.
egg.
Yeah, shh. Okay. So bring the cake back over. Ooh. Whoop.
Can I help you with anything?
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Can I hold the bowl?
You are so helpful. Can I hold the bowl? Okay, so I'm going to flip this over and carefully, whoop, it's not wanting to come out. Hold on. I'm going to, okay, so first I'm going to unwrap the plastic. Oh, thanks, buddy. And I'm going to see if that way I can more easily pull the bowl out.
Ooh, does it lift in?
Last time I did this, the bowl came right out, and this time it's giving me problems. I'm so sad. Oh, because the nest is really, oh.
What nest?
Come on, come out. This is a nest.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you make like the top and bottom of an egg?
Nope. This is a nest. Oh, you guys, I'm so sad. Okay. Your music is making me worse. Okay. I'm just going to use my thin spatula and try to kind of run it around the nest. I'm really trying not to break this nest because this nest is so delicate.
It's blue.
I think it's because it's cold. I wonder if I put warm water in it, if it would pull away, but I don't want anything to melt. So again, don't rush yourself. Stuff like this happens.
Thing is blue. It's blue when it's on the computer.
I know, my computer screen makes the cake look super blue, huh? Oh, I broke the nest.
What do you mean you broke the nest?
This part broke. Okay, I think I can fix it.
That could be like a
So what I did before I started, not only did I put plastic on the bowl, but I also forgot to spray it with like a non-stick spray, and I think that's why I'm having problems.
Oh.
I know, right? Okay.
Oh, next time you make this thing, definitely.
Next time, definitely non-stick spray. Oh, you guys, I'm getting so sad. I'm trying not to think unhappy thoughts. Oh, I broke another big chunk.
Well, you have to take it
Oh,
back now.
my first attempt came off beautifully, and then this one is a hot mess. Okay, so now I have pieces of a nest. Let's see if we can make this work. All right, so I have these two pieces of nest that are on the bigger side. You know what I think I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to take these wider outside pieces and set that
tiny piece
into
of
the
chocolate.
frosting.
How did it get so tiny?
I don't know.
Wow, I just take
Outside of my
finger
nest
and blow.
and press that into the cake.
Stop looking inside the cake. You don't see how embarrassing it is inside. Damn it.
Okay.
Damn it.
Okay, trying to not touch it too much, but press it together. That kind
Cut the bottom.
of works. Okay, so it's not quite what I was hoping for, but
that
it'll
does
work.
actually look like a real.
Does it look like a real nest?
Yes.
I'm gonna take some of these.
Ball of maize.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to take some of these broken parts. Let's see.
Oh, good thing you had those broken parts.
And fill in any
I
gaps
didn't
that I
eat them.
have.
Good thing I did.
Okay.
Because chocolate in this house.
What do you think? All right, let's see from the
doesn't
side
survive
angle
for long at
if it
all.
worked out okay.
Why when the chocolate, they put away the waste of chocolate, it just boom.
So it's kind of messy, but I think it's still okay.
Yeah, it actually looks like real nest.
Going to use that same spatula and kind of clean up the edge of my cake. Because I think if it looks a little cleaner on the outside, I think that will help. Okay. What do you think?
Ooh,
Is that going to help
took
clean
off
it up?
2 pieces.
You took off 2 pieces?
Da-da.
Oh, thanks.
Da-da.
Are you singing? You sweet boy.
Oops,
Okay.
that's it. The frosting tastes really good. Mom, how do you get such good frosting?
I made good frosting. Do you like it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so glad. Okay. Do you think that's helping to clean up the outside of the nest a little bit?
It feels like you added a bit. Does frosting have sugar in it?
Frosting does have sugar in it.
It feels like you added like a little bit too much sugar.
You think there's too much sugar?
A little bit weird.
You think it tastes a little sweet?
Weird.
Yeah. Okay.
A little
So
bit weird because it's too
I
sweet.
think I'm gonna call it there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
actually
think
looks
so.
pretty realistic because it doesn't look
Nests-
like it was ball made.
It doesn't look bowl made.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm gonna take my spatula. I'm just kind of wreathe smooth
Can you
everywhere I
eat this
kind of
little
made a
corner?
mess.
Can I eat this little corner?
Yes, you can. All right. So one of the things that I think I'm gonna do. Do you like it? Does the nest taste good?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad the nest tastes good. Okay. One of the things I'm going to do now is get a paper towel. Oh, forgot to clean around the base of the cake. So I'm cleaning around the base of the cake, and then I'm going to take some more of these shards and put them around the base of the cake. So that is what we're going to do right now. Are you singing? a song.
I feel like I've just heard the Mario song.
The Mario song.
Just voice like this. Bah, 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 bah.
Da-na-da-na-da-da-da-da-da. But with an angry voice.
No, but with instead, the A is B.
Oh. Okay. So now I'm going to take some more of these shards that I had extra left over, and I'm going to fill the outside like this with these chocolate shard pieces.
What about the Easterness? It just looks like...
It doesn't look like Easter yet?
No.
Yeah. Don't worry. We will add some Easterness to it.
Would we add some eggs?
Yes, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to add some eggs. Are you a mind reader?
No.
No.
Just like every Easter cake has.
Every Easter cake has that? Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, what do you think? Does that help?
I'm gonna put
Putting the
eggs
nest
in
around the
nest.
outside?
Are you gonna...
Yes.
But you might not. Maybe you shouldn't because it's broken.
Because the nest is broken. I think the eggs will still be safe even in a broken nest. Or as safe as a chocolate egg can be in this house. Okay.
Which
Pull this
is not
aside.
safe at all.
Which is not safe at all. You are right about that. Okay, so
It's safe as
we
a
have
egg.
our
Most of us
metallic eggs.
Ooh, I love those eggs.
And I'm going to add these metallic eggs to our nest.
Can I eat one?
Can you eat one? What kind of question is that?
They're just so good.
You think you deserve to eat one?
Yes, because I'm helping.
Because you're helping. You are a good helper, aren't you?
Can I put
Okay,
you
yep.
in?
Can you put some on the outside edge now? I'm going to put like one right there.
I'm just putting...
Yeah. Grabbing some yellow ones from over here.
Why the Oreos?
That's for a different project.
Oh.
Okay, do a blue one here. Okay, pink there. Good job. Let's do a yellow one here. Blue one.
The next pink. Oh, a pink
And
velvet.
here, right there. Do another pink one right there.
Ooh, good spot.
Good spot.
I'm gonna put
Put a
it
pink
in
one right
the-
there.
Yeah, that's an empty
I like
space.
it.
I shouldn't-
Okay,
shouldn't.
then we need another blue one.
Ooh, another blue.
Another blue one. Okay.
Ooh, there's a few.
Like that.
There's a few pink ones
Yep,
left.
there's some pink ones left. You can have it. Okay,
Ooh.
let's look at the side shot. Are you guys ready to see it? Bum, ba, da, bum. Hold on. Move the camera a little bit. Okay, hold on. We're going to move this camera
Wow.
so we can see it better. What do you think, bud?
Ooh, that's actually a pretty good view.
You think that's a good view? You think they're going to like it?
Yes.
Okay.
I kind of wanted to
Let's
video
change
it
the
when you're
camera
moving
angle.
it.
Whoop-a-ba-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da. What do you guys think? Da-da-da-da. Let's take these little things off. Okay. Ba-ba-da-ba, ba-ba-da-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. You happy? Yeah, you happy with that? Okay, what do you guys think? Beautiful, you love it, very nice. Thank you, peeps on top. That would be good. I could put more eggs in the nest. I don't think so. I think I'm gonna leave it like this. It's not perfect, but it looks good. Love it, looking pretty. Good save. Thank you, June. That's okay, it'll work. I agree. It's okay, it's still chocolate. Yes, you better believe it. Chocolate is always a good option. Okay, so now
I'm going to put more eggs.
that's
in
all
the
right. You guys don't want to see it like cut
nest.
open and see all the inside come out, do you? All right, so now we're going to cut the pinata
in
cake
the nest.
and see the inside. So I'm going to wipe down the counters
Wait, this is
again,
funny.
because you guys know me. And then we're going to cut it.
It doesn't look too Eastery.
It doesn't look too pretty.
No, it doesn't look too Eastery.
Oh, it doesn't look too Eastery. You don't think it looks Eastery with the eggs all over it and the nest?
It's just that a nest doesn't really fit for Easter.
You don't think a nest fits for Easter? Well, Easter is all about new, right? Rebirth, restarting, renew. And there's not much that says a lot more about restarting and renew than babies, right? Speaking of babies, what did we just have?
Our cats had babies.
Our cat had babies again. We have 5 beautiful kittens. So if anybody lives in Utah and wants the kittens, we're getting rid of some. Okay. And it's about 6 weeks. All right, plate.
We should leave a boy and girl.
Okay, now I need to stand where you are for the cutting.
Okay.
Can we trade places?
Sure.
Would that be okay?
I'm gonna hold it again.
You're gonna hold it again? Okay, so you come over here.
We just moved.
There you go.
We just moved the screen a little bit.
I did move the screen a little bit. You're right. Oops. Oh, that's my foot. You're on my foot. Okay.
You moved the cat thing a little.
Okay, so.
I wish I could just grab into the and just eat it.
Right, now as you are cutting a pinata cake, you actually don't cut all the way halfway through to the center of the cake because it's filled with stuff, right? So what you do is you cut into the center, then as you hit what's in there after that top layer, then you're going to bring your knife out a little bit and you kind of feel it scraping against that filling as you work your way down, right? So that is what I did here.
Oh, I can see it.
You can see it. Yeah.
Wait, is it yellow or is it orange?
The cake? The cake's
No,
like
the inside.
Yeah, the cake's like white cake.
Oh. Watch her go at me.
Okay, I can kind of feel my knife hitting those eggs in there. I'm actually gonna, because of the nest right here, I'm actually gonna kind of cut the cake right here because I couldn't quite get into the middle that way. Okay, that's gonna be a mess.
You don't
Yeah.
want the eggs to spill out. And spill
All right, I'm gonna take this, bring it off to the side so I can get this out.
She's not putting it off to the side. She's putting it on a plate.
On a plate. That's right. Okay, are you ready? Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. What song do you want to sing?
Monopoly? Because we
Yeah.
have a 6-player Monopoly
Oh,
thing.
hold on. Looks like it didn't cut all the way through down here.
Oh, down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw you like.
Oh, man. No, cut through there.
I just heard it.
I know, right? I
Like-
heard it too. Okay, whoop! There it goes.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Oh, eggs!
There it is. What do you think, bud?
Next time I think you should do like a question block for Mario.
A question block for Mario, huh? What do you think it should be filled with? Okay, there is the pinata cake. Oh, more spilling out every time I move it.
How about it should be like chocolate shaped, like power-up things, like
Yeah.
star, flower.
Mm-hmm.
The red one. The fire.
Okay, so what do you think? Was that a fun surprise?
Yes.
You think it's Eastery now?
Yes.
Yeah. Woohoo! Win! I got an Eastery cake, huh? Mwah. All right, so thank you so much for watching.
I just want to take a.
You just want to take a bite? Well, just wait a second. Oh, look here. I have cake pieces from the inside that we cut. Here you go. You can eat this.
Ooh, ooh.
All right, so
Like
thank you so
fall.
much for joining us. Hope you guys are getting excited for the holidays.
Looks
If you're
like
in spring
fall.
break, hope you're enjoying it. You just finished spring break like me. Welcome back to reality. Next week, we'll be doing a live back on Tuesday at our normally scheduled time at 4:30 Mountain Standard Times. Then I forget what I have scheduled. Totally spaced it. Don't forget in the comments you can always leave requests for videos that you'd like to see either live or edited, movies you'd like to see cakes from, recipes you'd like to see made. I'd love to hear your suggestions. We will have a new video up on Saturday that I'm super excited about. It was for my daughter's sweet 16th birthday 2 years ago, and I'm finally getting the video out. Galaxy crepes. Remember those? Yeah, those are good. Anyway, I will stick around and answer questions for a little bit longer, but thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this And let me know if you make it. If you do make it, don't forget to tag me in social media, Ashlee Marie Cakes. I would love to reshare it in my Instagram stories. All right, so ketchup. Wow, good even cut. Thank you. Sometimes the cake slices are like, this is a nice straight one. You were right. I'm happy about that. Wonderful. I'm sure the cake will really wow guests. Yes, Pinata Cakes always wow guests. Now it looks like Easter. Yay! Turned out great. Even with the hiccups, you saved the day. Thank you so much, Flyboy. Outstanding. I'm in awe. Love it. Thanks for sharing. Beautiful. Really enjoyed the video. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. I'm so glad that you enjoyed this. I'm going to scroll back through a little bit just in case I missed a question while we were going. And I hope you guys, get ready for the fallout. Yeah, I know. Wasn't that like the best, that moment? You'd serve it with pride. I'm so glad, June. Looks pretty. Still chocolate. Couldn't you have run warm water in the bowl? Yes, I thought about that. I thought about pouring warm water in the bowl to see if I could warm up the bowl and lodge it loose. But I only have 2 hands, and I was also worried about getting water on the nest itself. But yeah, if it hadn't broken, if it seemed like it was kind of coming loose, I would have done that. I really think that it's simply because I forgot to use non-stick spray on the outside. No. I have to take pictures. Stop eating. Here, you can have these. Oh, no, not those. You can have this one. Non-stick spray would have totally done the trick, because the first time I made the nest, it came off beautifully, and that was the difference. I forgot to put non-stick spray on the second time. The video is still getting pixelated. Man, I do not know what's going on Facebook today. Hopefully next week it will be fixed and smooth. You'd make it half the size, but it's beautiful. Yeah, Flyboy, you can always do this with like 6-inch cakes. I was just worried with how big those eggs are. I'd have to make a smaller inside hole the smaller the cakes got. And I didn't want there to be just like 1 or 2 eggs in the center. You really want this to be impressive as it comes out. And that's the same reason I make it nice and tall. The shorter the cake, really the less fallout you have. So that's why this is kind of like my go-to size for Pinata Cakes. Big reveal, looks like Easter. Will this replay? You were on the late end and missed some? Yes. Yeah. In fact, even right now while you're playing it, you can go back and watch it. Apparently the Facebook version had some problems, but over on YouTube it was nice and smooth. And you can watch it all over there. Super duper delicious. Put hot water in the bowl. Could put hot cloth inside the bowl. You know, Crystal, that's actually a really good idea, because then I wouldn't have had to worry about the water ruining the chocolate, but I still could have warmed up the bowl. You guys had good suggestions. Crystal said, hi, Edward. And so did Margaret. He does say thanks for the tip, Buttercream. Okay, I think I am all cut up. I think we got through all the comments. I am so sorry if I missed something that you said. You can always leave a new comment and I will try to get to it. All right, time to turn everything off and take pictures so we can get this on the blog so you guys can get the recipe. Are you ready to say goodbye? You ready to say goodbye?
No. I want to text goodbye.
Okay, ready? Look right in the camera and say, see you next week.
See you next week.
Good job.
Da, 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 da.